folks, I'm Matt, and welcome to the Good Trouble Show. Former Pentagon official turned whistleblower Lue Elizondo said this today on the CBS Mornings show.
So what you're telling me is that UFOs, unidentified flying objects, are real.
Bill, I think we're beyond that already. The government has already stated for the record that they're real. I'm not telling you that. The United States government is telling you that.
So who is Lue Elizondo?
Comments on 60 Minutes by former Pentagon and intelligence official Lue Elizondo put the global spotlight on the government's look into unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs. Now Elizondo is sharing more details about his work. He is the author of the new book, Imminent, Inside the Pentagon's Hunt for UFOs. In it, he writes these crafts are not made by humans, and they present a very serious national security issue.
Do you know who else thinks UFOs UAPs are a serious national security issue? Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and his counterpart, Republican Senator Mike Rounds.
The United States government has gathered a great deal of information about UAPs over many decades, but has refused to share it with the American people. That is wrong, and additionally, it breeds mistrust. We've also been notified by multiple credible sources that information on UAPs has also been withheld from Congress, which, if true, is a violation of the laws requiring full notification to the legislative branch, especially as it relates to the 4 congressional leaders, the defense committees, and the intelligence committee. So the bill I worked on with Senator Rounds offered a common sense solution.
We will discuss this legislation later, but I want to know if we can trust the government to tell us the truth.
Well, we know that the government never lies, right? Iran-Contra, Pentagon Papers, Afghanistan withdrawal. No, unfortunately, the government is not this huge colossal machine, if you will. It's segregated into these little fiefdoms, if you will. And unfortunately, they don't always coordinate and talk with one another. As far as these vehicles not being made by humans, if you will, that's not me saying that. We have scientists, some of the top scientists that your taxpayer dollars have paid for them to conduct this research. And at the end of the day, when you're studying the material and you're studying the capabilities of these vehicles, and frankly, there's nothing that we have that compares to what these vehicles can do, the capabilities that they're demonstrating in front of us, then one has to ask, well, where are they from? And if it's not our technology and it's not some sort of adversarial technology, it's someone's technology.
Are these things from Russia or China?
I think if you were to look at it now and say, well, there's no evidence these things are, if you will, not human. The reality is we've been dealing with this topic as a government for decades. So it's not like there's some sort of adversarial technology that just popped on the proverbial radar that's ahead of us. This is something we've been dealing with as a nation for 60 years. So let's put that into perspective. This would be like going into King Tut's tomb for the very first time and finding a fully assembled 747 inside the tomb. It doesn't make sense, right? From a time perspective, we're talking the 1950s, the late 1940s, where this technology has been demonstrated over controlled U.S. airspace, over some of our most sensitive military installations. And by the way, there's official U.S. documentation that substantiates this.
Wow. So let's get back to what is happening in Congress. Here is Republican Senator Mike Rounds from last year.
This is an issue that I think has caught the attention of the American people, and most certainly the lack of transparency on the matter, which is of real interest to a lot of the folks that have watched from the outside. We wanted to take that same approach with regard to how we could dispel myths, misinformation about UAPs, about unidentified flying objects, unidentified objects that simply have come to the attention of the American people.
What are Senators Schumer and Rounds speaking about? Last year, Senators Chuck Schumer and Mike Rounds introduced the UAP Disclosure Act, 63 pages of federal legislation compelling the Pentagon and the intelligence community to finally stop lying to the American people about what they have been hiding from Congress and you. The legislation passed unanimously in the Senate, but Chair of the House Permanent Select Committee for Intelligence, Republican Mike Turner, killed the bill.
Again, as the senator has said, it's the same method used for the JFK records, and it continues to work to this very day. It is really an outrage the House didn't work with us on adopting our proposal for a review board, which, of course, by definition here is bipartisan in the Senate. Now it means that declassification of UAP records will be largely up to the same entities that have blocked, obfuscated their disclosure for decades.
Outrage indeed. One of the key elements of this legislation would have created a citizen review board within the White House to examine all classified UAP material held by any government agency.
I agree with my friend and colleague. To those who think that the Citizen Review Board that would have been created in our UAP Disclosure Act, that it would be unprecedented and somehow it would go too far, we note that the proposed review board was very closely modeled on the review board established in the JFK Assassination Records Act of 1992, which has successfully guided the release of records to the American public on another very sensitive matter of high interest to the American people. And it does one more thing that we really need to recognize, and that is that there is, we believe, information and data that has been collected by more than just the Department of Defense, but by other agencies of the federal government as well. And by allowing for an outside, independent collection of these records, we can make progress in terms of dispelling myths and providing accurate information to the American people.
While Congressman Mike Turner, one of the largest recipients of campaign donations from defense contractors, gutted the bill last year, the good news is the bill is back. Senators Schumer and Rounds reintroduced the bill, which will be voted on by the Senate when it reconvenes at the beginning of September. Everyone watching at home, if you want to know the truth about what is in our skies, contact your lawmakers and demand that they vote to approve the UAP Disclosure Act of 2025.